Hello everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Mr. Heron Bautista, and I am here to discuss to you the difference between Markon, Markdown, and Markup. So now we are going to discuss the following terminologies for us to understand fully the concept of Markup, Markdown, and Markon. So we have here the selling price. It refers to the price which the seller put on a certain product or service. In short, it's if you have a sari-sari store, for example, and the price you assign to each item or each product in your store, that refers to the selling price. Next, we have the cost, the price paid to obtain or purchase an item. So the cost, it is just the original price of a specific item or product you've got from a grocery store, from a supplier, from a factory, and whatsoever where it came from. So that is the cost. That is that is the original the original price of the product. Okay. Okay, let's have some scenario. In your store, you have their pancit canton. And that pancit canton came from, assuming from the pure gold. And the price of that is 9 pesos and 50 cents. 9 pesos and 50 cents is the cost. And then in your store, you are selling that pancit canton for 12 pesos. And 12 pesos is now the selling price. Okay. I hope you get the difference between the two, the selling price and the cost. Now let's proceed to the expenses. So expenses refers to the cost which a business spent on their operation. Now, what are the common expenses na nai-encounter ng mga business men and business women? Okay, na may mga business owners. Okay, of course, pag may business ka, pagbaguhan ka sa business, kailangan mo ng commercial space. And then it can either be rental or binili mo siya, 'di ba? So gagastos ka doon, 'di ba? O kaya ikaw talaga nagpatayo ng ganyan ng space na 'yan. Siyempre, gagastos ka nun para sa mga materyales. And then that falls down under expenses. And then electricity, of course, gagamitin ng electricity. For example, you are selling frozen products, so you need to have some appliances like refrigerator or cooler. And then you need to buy those appliances, and the money you spend falls under expenses. And then what else? For example, you are lending some amount of money for your initial capital just to run a business, and then for after a month or every month you have to pay for the money you lent. So that falls under expenses as well. So those were some of the common expenses. Okay, next we have the profit. So it's the amount obtained when the revenue of a business activity exceeds the total cost. So for example, after a couple of weeks, you now computed the total sales. You subtracted there the cost of the product or the capital that you have, the initial capital you have, and then the total cost, the total expenses. And then after subtracting the initial capital and the total cost or the total expenses, then you have some remaining amount of money, and that remaining amount of money refers to the profit. And then if there is no remaining amount, and then the answer is negative, okay? So that is loss. You have a loss, okay? After you subtract, halimbawa, yung sales mo for about 3 weeks, sinubtract mo na doon yung capital minus yung mga expenses mo, and then ang lumabas negative. Negative, sabihin may kulang pa. So ibig sabihin, you have a loss. May nalugi ka, hindi ka kumita. Nalugi ka. Okay. Next, we have the rate. It's the amount of a charge with reference to some basic amount. It is usually expressed in percent. So, sabi the amount of a charge, it can either be nag-add ka ng amount sa price ng item mo, nag-subtract ka doon, or something like that. And then, the rate there is usually expressed into a percent. That is the rate. Ang rate na to class, this rate will interpret, will describe kung magkano nga ba ang nadagdag, nabawas, or something like that. Magkano ang kinita mo, magkano ang nalugi, or something like that. Okay. In business, it usually in rate. Okay? The rate will describe. Kailangan may percent yan. Okay. So next, we have the break even. It's the point when the income of business is equal to its expenditure, showing that there is neither profit nor loss. So, in layman's term, so, simplihin natin to. A break-even class, halimbawa, after a couple of weeks, so meron ka ng total sales mo. Okay, binilang mo na yun, kinumpute mo na kung magkano lahat ang total sales mo. And then you subtracted there, niles mo na doon yung capital mo, niles mo na doon yung mga expenses mo na nagastos mo. And then, ang lumabas is 0. That is break even. That is break even. Or, ganito siya. Other case, para mas lalo maintindihan natin. So, the total sales, subtract mo na dun lahat ng expenses mo. And then, ang lumabas na sagot is equal na equal doon sa capital mo. Then, that is a break even. Ibig sabihin, nabawi mo lang yung capital mo. Hindi ka nalugi, hindi ka rin kumita. Ibig sabihin, nabawi mo lang. That is break even. Now, let's talk about markup. So, markup is the price that a seller or a business owner must add in order to sustain his business and gain a profit. Wala namang business owner na magbebenta ng product na same sa price kung saan niya kinuha yung product na yon. Kasi kapag same lang ang price, wala kang dinagdag, hindi ka kikita, and then hindi lalaki or lalago ang business mo. Hindi siya magtatagal. Hindi siya lalago. Steady lang siya. Okay? So, kailangan mo magdagdag. So, yung value na dinagdag mo doon sa presyo ng produkto mo, that is what we call the markup. And markup is put on products to cover the expenses and cost of a certain business. Halimbawa, umaangkat ka ng products from other places, from outside the province or out of the town. So, kailangan mo ng sasakyan. If you have your own car or automobile, so you are spending something for the gasoline, right? And if you don't have your own car, you have to rent a car or even to commute. So, kailangan mong mamasahe. So, that is also an expenses. That is also one of the expenses. And the cost of the product. And then, kailangan mo cover, kailangan mo siyang mabawi. Okay. And then, the sum of the cost and the markup determines the selling price. So, if the cost of the product is 100 and the value you want to add is 25, then you add the 100 plus 25, that is 125 pesos. That amount, 125 pesos, is the selling price. So, that is now the function of markup. It is the value added to the cost for us to come up to the selling price of a certain product. We have here a problem which says that the selling price of a bag is 500 pesos, which is purchased at 350 pesos. In this problem, let us compare the cost and the selling price. And the cost is 350 pesos. Here on the right side, when we say cost, it's the price of the product. Kung magkano mo siya kinuha or binili sa supplier mo. And then, when you say selling price, it's the price of the product kung magkano mo siya ibebenta sa mga customer mo in your store. As we can see, yung seller di sa problem na to, may dinagdag siya sa cost, kaya nag-come up siya sa selling price na 500 pesos. There's a value added to the cost. Okay, and that value added, it refers to the markup. And the markup also refers to the profit. Ito yung tubo or kikitain mo. Ito yung tubo, dinagdag mo dyan sa presyo. Okay? Para kumita ka naman. And for us to know how much is the markup or the profit being added by the seller, let's just subtract selling price to the cost. So we have here 500 pesos minus 300 pesos, and that is equal to 150 pesos. This is now our markup, which is equal to 150 pesos. Ito yung idinagdag ng seller sa kanyang product na bag. And for us to interpret kung ano nga ba itong 150 pesos, can we interpret this one? Anong halaga nito? So, now let's just divide 150 pesos by 350. Okay, markup divided by cost. And then that is equal to 0.4286. I already rounded off the answer to the nearest 10 thousandths. And this decimal number is also equal to 42.86%. This rate is the markup rate based on cost. So, ito yung ipinatong mo sa cost. Ibig sabihin, 42.86% ng cost na 350 ang idinagdag mo para kumita ka. Okay, magkano yon? That is 150 pesos. Ang 150 pesos ay 42.86% ng 350 pesos. Okay. So now, how about if we're going to divide the markup by the selling price? So, divide natin. So, 150 divided by 500, that is equal to 0.3, 0.3, or 30%. The 30%, this rate is what we call the markup rate based on the selling price, which is 500. So, 30%, anong gamit ang 30%? Ang 30%, ito yung kikitain mo. Sa selling price mo na 500. Sa 500 na yan, ang kita mo dyan, ang tubo mo, your profit is 30%. And how much is 30% of 500? That is 150 pesos. So that is the use of the markup. Okay? That's the use of the markup. And then, that's the use of the rate rather. As you still remember, on the previous slides, we discussed the meaning or definition of rate. So the rate is used to interpret or to explain the scenario of the business or specific situation in the business. Okay. So now, class, we have here the three terminologies. We have selling price, cost, and markup. Sa tatlong ito, kung may mawalang isa, kaya pa rin nating isolve yon by using this formula. So, selling price is equal to cost plus markup. So, this formula is based on the definition of the markup. Okay. Or, in symbol, that is SP equals C plus M. We are using capital letters to denote the following terms. So, selling price, that is always equal to the cost plus the markup, or the sum of the cost and the markup. That is the selling price. The selling price. Okay, that's it. Problem number 2 we have here is selling price of a pair of shoes is 3,999 pesos. And the cost is 80% of the selling price. So the selling price is 3,999 and we can compute the cost by getting the 70%, the 80% of 3,999. So let's just show the given. So yun ang given natin. Yung 80% is the rate of the cost based on the selling price. Yun, kasi nakabase tayo sa problem. And now, ang una natin gagawin is to find the value of the cost. And here is the formula I am using. Cost is equal to selling price times the rate of cost based on selling price. And then let's just substitute the given values. Selling price is 3,999 times the rate, which is 80%. 3,999 times 80%, that is equal to 3,199 pesos and 20 centavos. So, ito na yung ating cost. This is the price. Ito yung presyo ng product, ng pair of shoes from the supplier. Okay, yan yon. And now, aalamin natin magkano nga ba ang idinagdag dito. Magkano? Kasi we're talking about markup. We're talking about markup. As you can see, 3,119 and the cost is less than as compared to the selling price, 3,999. Okay, reverse natin. Okay, the selling price, 3,999, is greater than the value of the cost, which is 3,199 pesos and 20 centavos. Therefore, the problem talks about markup. Ibig sabihin, nagdagdag siya ng price sa cost. So, gumamit siya ng markup. There's a markup added on the cost of the product. And for us to know how much is the markup being added, all we need to do is, okay, here is the formula I am using. M, capital letter M, stands for the markup. So, quantity 100% minus rate of cost based on the selling price times the selling price. And then substitute the given. So, we have quantity 100% minus 80% times 3,999 pesos. Then, let's subtract 100% minus 80%. That is 20% times 3,999. The answer is 799 pesos and 80 centavos. Itong price na to, itong amount na to, this is the markup. This is the profit. This is the amount charge or the charge being added to the cost para kumita yung seller sa binenta niyang pair of shoes. 799.80 pesos. This is now the value of the markup. Okay, I have here another way how to solve for the value of markup given the value of cost. Since nakuha na natin ang value ng cost sa una, dito sa una, all we need to do is, ito ang another formula. M, capital letter M, stands for markup equals selling price minus cost. And then substitute the given values. Selling price is 3,999 minus the cost, 3,199 pesos and 20 centavos. And then do some subtraction. Subtract the two values. And then we will get 799 pesos and 80 centavos. Yung dalawang ito ay parehas lang. So, it's up to you kung alin sa dalawang solution na yan ang gagamitin nyo. Alin sa dalawang formula na yan ang gagamitin just for you to come up to the value of the markup. Now, let's proceed to the concept of markdown. So, markdown is a reduction in the selling price of a product which occurs in response to a certain market condition. So, ito yung presyo na binawas mo sa selling price mo. So, bakit ka nagbabawas ng presyo? Bakit binabaan mo yung presyo ng products mo? Kapag mahina ang demand ng product mo. 'Di ba? Mahina ang demand, edi marami ka pang supply. Mahina ang demand. Hindi ganong marami ang namimili sa iyo. Bakit? Anong dahilan? It could either be marami kang competitors, maraming nagtitinda, maraming business na same sa'yo. So, kailangan magbaba ka ng presyo just to attract your customers. At yung binaba mong presyo, that is the markdown. The amount you reduce. Okay, yun na siya. Dinidak mo doon sa selling price mo. That is the markdown. So, it may be temporary or permanent. Pwede siyang temporary, pwedeng permanent. So, ayan siya. Yung mga sales class, sales, discounts, it also refers to the markdown. It refers to markdown as well. Okay, temporary yung mga sales natin. Pag Christmas seasons, mga peak seasons, di mga ganung bagay, kakaroon ng mga sales. So, it is also used to encourage consumers to buy the items by reducing the selling price temporarily. Okay, as what I have said a while ago. So, now let's proceed to the word problem. We have here another problem. So, it says that the original price of a bed frame is 8,000 pesos. The owner wants to remove this item on his inventory. So, he put it on a 20% sale for the item just to reach the break-even point. So, this problem refers to the concept of markdown. Since we can see here the word sale. When we say sale, so may bawas tayo sa presyo. Okay. Pag nagbawas tayo, sabihin, meron tayong tinatawag na markdown. So, the given are, we have here 8,000 pesos, the original price, also known as the first selling price. And then next, we have 20%. This is the markdown rate based on the selling price or the original price. So, now, what we're going to do here is to find out what will be the value of the markdown. Magkano nga ba ang matitipid ng customer pag siya ay bibili ng bed frame? So, the formula to be used is markdown equals original price times the markdown rate. And then, we are going to substitute the values. So, the original price is 8,000 times the markdown rate is 20%. 20% can be written as 0.20. And 8,000 times 20%, that is 1,600 pesos. So, itong 1,600 pesos, ito yung matitipid ng customer if he or she will buy a bed frame from this store. Okay. And then next, we're going to find out magkano na lang ang ibabayad ng customer sa bed frame pag ito ay nakasale lang 20%. So that is what we call the new price or the discounted price, and that is equal to original price minus the markdown. And then we are going to substitute the value for the given terminologies we have here. Original price is 8,000 minus the markdown is 1,600. 8,000 minus 1,600, it will give us 6,400 pesos. So, ito na lang ang babayaran ng customer. Okay. Now, let's proceed to the concept of mark-on. When we say mark-on, it's another term for markup. They are just the same. They just differ on some function. When we say markup, it's the amount added to the original cost. When we say original cost, it's the price of the product or item when you buy it from the supplier. And then when we say mark on, it's another increase. Kapag nagdagdag ka na ng profit mo doon, let's just say meron ka ng markup, nagdagdag ka pa ulit sa selling price mo, that is mark on. Mark on, nagdagdag ka pa ulit. After you increase another amount, dagdagdag ka pa ulit, that is mark on. It is the price of a product after another increase. And then, it is used when after you add an increase on the price of the product, you then grab an opportunity to add another amount to the price of a product. Now, let's talk about some of the problem related to mark on. We have here a problem saying that the original price of a cake is 500 pesos, and then a week before Christmas Day, a seller put a 10% increase on the price of its baked cakes. During Christmas, the seller then put another 10% to the original price of her cakes. This problem portrays a mark on. As you can see, it has increased the price of its baked cakes twice. Dalawang beses siya nag-increase ng presyo. So, the given are, we have the original price or the first selling price, which is 500 pesos. And then the first 10%, that is the additional markup rate based on the selling price. So, ngayon, aalamin natin kung magkano yung additional markup na yon. So, all we need to do is this one, we will be using this formula. Markup is equal to P sub 0. It refers to the original price times markup based on the selling price. Markup rate based on the selling price. Okay. Then substitute the given values provided. Original price is 500. Markup rate based on the selling price is 10%. Multiplying the 2, that is equal to 50 pesos. So, ito yung idinagdag niya. Ito yung una niyang idinagdag sa presyo. So, nagdagdag siya ng 50 pesos sa kanyang selling price na 500. So, ang magiging new, or the first new selling price is equal to markup, which is 50, plus the original price, which is 500. It will become 550 pesos. Ito na yung first new selling price. And then, on the second sentence, nagdagdag ulit siya ng 10%, and that is the mark-on rate, which is 10%. For us to know kung magkano ang dinagdag niya ulit, we will be using this formula. Mark-on is equal to mark-on rate times the first new selling price. Then substitute. Mark-on rate is 10% times the first new selling price, which is 550. 10% times 550, that is 55 pesos. Ngayon, aalamin natin magkano na nga ba ang kanyang new selling price or the second new selling price after this seller increase the original price. Okay, so that is second new selling price is equal to mark-on plus the first new selling price. The mark-on is 55 pesos and the first new selling price is 550 pesos. By adding, we will get 605 pesos. Ito na yung bagong selling price after magdagdag o after mag-increase na 2 beses ang seller sa price ng kanyang baked cakes. Okay, thank you. So I hope you understand something, you get something from my discussion. And thank you for watching and thank you for listening.